6th, 2013. To my right is Steve Palantonio, Susan Byrne, Robin Mann, and Dottie Ives Dewey, and I'm Cheryl Tamola, and we're going to talk about the comprehensive plan. First of all, as you may see on your agenda, we are going to do an update of the comprehensive plan. I have talked to Mr. Zinkowski, and we have all discussed this before, that we really don't need to go through the whole thing of soils and waterways and everything that we did in the first one. But some things have definitely changed since, in the past 10 years, since we adopted the other. What has he done? Okay, all right. All righty, so that's what we're going to do. Now, it seems to me that we have to reread the first plan. I mean, to find out what's wrong. I was hoping that Jen McGowan, who is our new member, would be able to come tonight since she has most recently read it, and the rest of us are like over it, you know. So, but at any rate, she can't come, so we are going to just tap into her new knowledge, I guess. I mean, it will be interesting seeing it from her point of view, what she has realized is no longer pertinent. But I think that we should divide this up, and I was thinking of dividing it up the way that we did with the comprehensive plan before. Everybody takes a section. Of course, then I forgot my comprehensive plan to be able to parcel out.
I got the executive summary.
Good. Oh, good. Well, that has each of the little brackets in it, right?
It does.
Okay, good. So you want to list them for me?
Here.
Okay. Thank you, dear. Okay, so making great communities. It has a lot of writing in it. Okay, the first one would be environmental and natural resources. So I'm nominating Robin for that one. Mm-hmm. She's what we refer to a natural.
Sure, do me a favor.
Yes.
The reason we're doing this again is what?
To update the comprehensive plan.
And I know Dottie asked it, but I wasn't listening because I was watching the TV thing.
We're identifying what's stated in the current.
So our mission, as per Bob Zinkowski, is to find out what is relevant and what is not.
Actually, Bob just told us that it was time to update it and that we should look for a consultant. It's my idea that we ought to each study a chapter of it and then present what our findings to each other. And then we can all sign in, sign out, whatever.
You mean in terms of what's been accomplished, what still needs to be done, or what might have changed, so we can get an idea of what kind of research we need to do.
But it'll also inform our thinking about the focus for the update and who therefore would be the best person the best firm to work with.
Work with. So the idea is dividing up the task so that we can each delve into it. And then, if you have any questions, or I think we run it by each other at our next meeting. That's my theory. Okay, and we may be, I don't know whether, we have subcommittee. Oh, thanks. Okay, good. Next is housing. Now, I don't remember who did that before. But, Susan, you want to do housing?
Sure.
Okay. See, this is really good. Now, next, this is kind of boring for people to watch, but business and economic development.
Isn't that you, Steve? No?
He's going to pretend he doesn't know. Okay, so we'll make that Steve, if you're willing. Okay. Now, next.
I'll just keep nominating other people.
You do that.
That can be dangerous.
Yes. Transportation and circulation, I think that was mine. And I would be willing to do that again.
We're all going to need a couple chapters, right?
Yes, but we're just assigning them one by one right now. Okay? Yes. And remember that if there's something really not good, we can always give it to Jim because he's not here. Something that's really difficult and needs to be worked on a lot. And Al's not here also. Open space and recreation. Now, Steve, Susan, and I are working on and Kevin, are working on the greenways and open space plan that we got a grant for from DCNR.
Great.
So perhaps all
The
three of us should look at this, since it kind of informs the other and each of them back and forth. That's okay? Cheryl?
No, Cheryl, Susan.
Susan.
Oh.
Okay? Because it seems a logical connection, right? All right. So, there we've got to make one more. Historic and archaeological resources. Let's see. You'll take that? Okay. We've learned a lot from working with the Garrett Hill folks. Okay, oh, this is the rest of it. Croak. Community services and facilities.
I'll take that.
Okay. All right. And remember, we have to give something to Al and something.
I'm waiting for land use to come up.
I know,
Is
it's
there
coming
one?
up and it's got dotty written
Yeah, I
all
think I'm
over it.
avoiding all of this.
Existing land use.
I'll do land use.
I think you're a good candidate for that one. Your initial spell did.
I think they do.
Mhm. And, is that it?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Did we have a separate section on institutional, or did
Yeah, we
that?
did. Yeah,
It's not part of
Jim should probably do institutional.
right, we will make, we'll make it Jim. Yeah, I think there were 9 too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I should not be doing three.
Yeah.
No, you should not.
You have a heavy load.
Oh, how about, we take you off of community, Susan?
I don't know, that's kind of a
Okay,
good topic for me right now. How about taking up open space?
Yeah, since there are two others on it.
yeah, since we're, well, not, all right. But you'll still have to be on the other committee, so forget
Sure.
that. And you can.
And what is, Hal gonna do?
How about business and economic with Steve?
Yeah, actually, that would be,
I think that's.
that'd probably be a good one for.
And so we have everybody covered except Jennifer. Maybe she can do
How
a
about you
story.
be a floater and whoever needs
Okay, okay.
assistance?
So what we are being tasked to do then is to read through that section,
Yes.
see what's been accomplished, what still might be an area of concern, and provide some recommendations on follow-up research to what was done as part of the
Yes,
last
kind
one.
of get a little synopsis of what we've done, what still needs to be done. And if something is on there that's unachievable, then it's by Steve.
Okay.
We'll eliminate.
Remind me, when was this done before, last time we was doing this?
The last one was 2003.
Okay, that's when it was accepted.
Yes.
But when was it started?
98? It seemed like it took forever.
It was a couple of years, right?
Yeah, no, I was all
19
planning, that was 2000, so
2000,
had to be right after that.
right, 2000.
Yeah, I think
So
it started in 2001,
Yeah,
didn't it?
right, maybe, yeah. So it
It's a
took us
long
a few
process.
years to get it done, which it does generally.
Right. And then there's the process of getting it adopted.
Right,
That takes
exactly.
time too.
That's what
But the
happened.
whole guiding the inventory, will be short-circuiting that.
Robin, what do you think?
Yeah, hopefully. We'll have to find out, what kind of budget's been allocated
Right.
to it to sort of, back into a scope of work.
Yes.
But there are several chapters that are in work or finished anyway because of other efforts right now. It all kind of circle back at the same time, so it shouldn't be as,
Oh, right. The whole point is
Yeah.
that it shouldn't be as onerous.
Yeah.
We don't have to go back to stage one and
Mhm.
look things, because certainly institutional is being addressed in some way. But there are other aspects other than the regulatory things about institutional that you would want to say perhaps.
Mhm.
And that's what I think Jim would be very good at fleshing that out.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall
Well,
see.
Cheryl, let me understand, say, institutional. We're just seeing what the 2003 plan says and what has been accomplished and what has not.
Yes.
On top of that, is there, now that it's been 10 years, new criteria that this board's supposed to be presenting as well?
Well, changes that you see, I mean, there are changes in thought, say, about housing or business or,
Which leads me to, I mean, this question,
Transportation.
maybe I'm a little bit ahead of myself, and maybe Kevin can answer this as well, but for now in subcommittee mode, and there's topics that are not only confrontational, but they're very detailed and, you know, kind of off the wall, some of them. Is this group and a subcommittee allowed to meet with whatever resources we think to get the right information, now that we're not just going off something that's already been adopted and approved, but now we're amending it to real-time 2013 and beyond?
well,
Don't have to know that now, but I think
It's a
I-
work
you
group,
know, I
so
think-
doing research was allowed in open space. and
that's,
when a
that's fine, as
decision
long
was
as,
being made.
I think it's very important we get that clearly defined,
right,
that it's something we can do.
okay.
You wouldn't
Or
get done
Or,
unless you
or at
did.
what point in the process we can do it. I mean, I think in any kind of comprehensive planning process, you want to reach out to
Oh,
people.
yes.
I mean, it's not, you know, this is
You
coming from the
do,
community.
but does it have to be at a public meeting, a public setting, a public forum, advertised?
Yeah,
That's my question.
yeah.
I would think that before you approach the public, we need to know what we're looking at, what we're discussing.
Yeah.
No,
We can't just say, hey, what do you think about
Right,
institutions?
right.
Because we'll be overwhelmed. So.
no, I agree wholeheartedly,
Mhm.
but if you pick a president of a university, a neighbor, a consultant, or whatever, as a stakeholder resource, whatever you want to call them, to reach out to for their point of view, can you just go ahead and do that? Or does it have to be here and they come to that microphone? Because 2003, to get to the point where we had it, took a lot of time and a heck of a lot of discussion and everything else, and it was, hey, can the 3 subcommittee members meet Thursday at 5:12
Right.
to take a walk through the Wayne Business District or whatever? Is that still allowable? And it's something I think we should get clearly defined before we go down a road and not be
Yeah, I agree.
really
I think we
approved.
should get clarification on that.
I do too.
It's all supposed to be open.
Generally, in the past, of course, the Sunshine Act kind of addresses only if you're voting on something. But, you know, and the fact that we are eventually voting on something may color what we're
It's
doing.
however way it plays out is
Mhm.
fine with me, whatever the rules are.
Mhm.
I just think we need to get a clear definition
Okay, I will ask
presented to
Bob.
us.
Right.
If I may make a suggestion, that as
Maybe.
part of the early phase of this project is that you're going to analyze the existing document, determine the relevancy of what was written in 2003 and areas that you would want to update. And then you're going to utilize that analysis to formulate a plan of action to determine what consultant you're going to be working with. Once you determine the consultant and you move into the actual update of the 2013 comp plan is when you're going to start doing the key person interviews, the stakeholders and things like that. So I think the first analysis is just going through what was written, determining where you think that there are deficiencies or those goals and objectives that have already been accomplished. So you cross those off so that you take that out from the consultant so that you can steer it in a more efficient manner.
Right. I think you're right, Kevin. I
Perfect.
think you've said it well. Thank you. All right, so that's the task.
Okay.
All right.
Cheryl, do me a favor, can you just go through the committees again and who's on who?
Okay, environmental, Robin Mann. Housing, Susan Byrne. Business and economic, Al Murphy and Steve Palantonio. Transportation, Cheryl Tomola. Open space and recreation, Cheryl Tomola and Steve Palantonio. Historic, Steve Palantonio. Steve, there are a lot of committees.
Yeah, we got to do some of this.
Right. Community is Susan, but maybe we can put Jennifer. Oh, you know, you liked community, so you didn't want to get
Well,
off.
see who, you have how many now? I have
3.
2. You have 3, so he needs 1 to go to somebody
I
else.
mean, open space and historical, archaeological is fine with me. Business and economic, I wouldn't mind dropping out of.
Okay, so,
Well, that's been a, you know,
And
that's
leave it
been
to Al,
an
you
issue.
mean?
for Al.
And leave it to Al, business and economic, okay.
I mean, that's been an interest of his.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense.
So we'll just leave Al there, and then you're off of that,
Okay,
okay?
thank
Now,
you.
how far did I get? Open space is just
Community services,
you and
Susan.
me. Community services, Susan. Existing land use is Dottie, and institutional is Jim. And Jennifer is our floater, kind of. Maybe she'll work with Susan because she's been involved with her local community a lot.
Yeah,
So-
although it would be, the two of us are new guys.
Right,
basically,
okay.
Relatively speaking, but I'd be happy.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's essentially assessing reading what's there,
Yeah.
and trying to
Yeah,
see what needs to be done or what's lacking.
I can read.
We still have
Oh,
that
good.
document, the spreadsheet of accomplishments?
Yes, I have that.
From about 3 years
I
ago?
still have
Was that maybe?
It's
Maybe
from
even
about
4.
like 10 years ago.
Do you have that in digital form?
I'll look.
I have it somewhere,
Yeah. I know, I just have
but at
my
least it's a good
computer cleaned.
baseline.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Cheryl, I think
exactly.
that we do have that in digital form. That may have been something about a year ago that we found. I don't know if it's editable or not. It may be a PDF, but I think we do have it digitally.
Wait, we can't convert
Can you
the PDF
circulate
to-
that to us then, just so we have it digitally?
Sure.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Then everybody would have at least points to actually look at. It would focus us even better than
Yep.
before. So that'll be great. Now, another thing I thought about, this may be inappropriate, appropriate, I'm not sure, but we are going to be selecting a consultant for the Greenways and Open Space Plan that we have gotten a grant for. This is the township's going to be doing this. So it seems like there would be duplication of work. There are certain things that both would end up covering, especially the open space recreation things, of course, would be a duplication of work. I don't know whether we might look at consultants who are already going to be, so whoever gets chosen for that, to see whether they would be someone viable for this. I'm not sure, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
And I also wonder, in terms of the sequence, I mean, is that moving ahead at this
Yes.
point? You're,
Yes, we
okay,
have a
so,
timeline on that because it's a grant.
because of the funding, okay.
Part of the question will be how well that will be integrated into the overall comprehensive,
Mhm.
new comprehensive plan.
Right. The time things together are kind of,
Yeah.
I don't mean to stop.
No, I mean, it's just.
So you're wondering whether we could use the same consultant to do?
Right, yeah, or, yeah.
I think, I think it's premature to say. I think we have to see what the focus
No,
of
I'm
the
just
plan is
throwing
going to
these things
be.
out there.
Yeah, there's consultants that would be most qualified to do that kind of plan, might not be the
Right, exactly.
consultant that's
Right.
best qualified to do the update.
I just thought about the kind of mapping things or whatever would be.
Oh, certainly, yeah, there should be some coordination.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, hopefully, with the open space plan update, that we have now a fresh set of maps from the consultant. So those should be township owned. So whatever consultant we use, we would be able to share that information with. So
Yeah,
they would at least have a base to start with.
right, that should cut out some expense one way or the other.
Right.
Right. Excellent.
So I have a question.
Yes.
As new guy. So the grant that we'd be going for is just to write the plan, or is it also to write the plan and successfully implement the new one through professional development
There
of
is no
the
grant.
boards?
There is no grant. It's
There's
in the
a-
township budget,
Oh,
right. So,
So that-
and we don't have to go out for bid, we don't have to do an RFP because
Right.
it's already in the budget, which takes out a whole chunk of manipulation that we will not have to deal with.
but I know in the past, we've talked about the fact that a lot of times boards are not aware of the plan or its contents, and is there,
That comes next, thank you. It's right down here underneath here.
I didn't put my glasses on yet.
Okay. Well, so with that segue, education of boards, it is, it has become obvious, and we talk about it all the time, that the other boards and commissions have no idea what a comprehensive plan is, what it does, how they should relate to it. So as I wrote in my email to everybody, I think Dottie would be a good person to do this, or at least formulate this. We're going to try to have a presentation to all the boards, hopefully at one time. I don't know how that'll work out, but and explain to them what a comprehensive plan is, how it affects us, how it affects them, what the community's input is, all of that kind of stuff, and make it clear to them, and where it gets its strength. And one of the things that I think we should have this time, when we complete the comprehensive plan, have an official map done, which we did not last time. And I think we really need one in the township, because what it does is set the township's desires for placing development in certain areas. It codifies them in some way. And if someone comes up with something different than that, you have a year to either compromise with them, reject it, or come up with go along with it. That's the three things. And it's maybe, I think it's about $6,000 to get something like that done, which is probably fits into this and could be folded into the whole comprehensive planning process. And it's really the teeth that we lacked in the comprehensive plan that we did, I think. That's why we keep having these struggles, because people kind of think it's all nebulous and there's no guidance to it. This way, if someone wants to do something that we find does not connect with the comprehensive plan and the community's overall look at what they want, how things to be developed, then they have a year when we have a year to come to some kind of compromise with it, but we have some kind of teeth to hold over them.
Yeah, I guess that I have a little different view of official maps. So I think that an official map is a great tool.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I mean, there's as much of an effort involved in getting one adopted, and it's kind of a different process. And I think if there's the willingness to go ahead and adopt one, we should look at it. But I think the other important thing is that in order to implement a comprehensive plan, you have to follow up with the regulations.
Right.
And so, and as we all know,
As we've been here for
all
all these years, 10 years,
trying to
implement
get
that.
zoning changes and whatever. It's a time-consuming process,
Right.
but at least that people understand that the plan is not, that creating the plan is not the end of the process. It's really just the beginning of the process. So, I wonder from a procedural standpoint in putting the plan together, if we don't invite people from other boards to serve on the committee to help put the plan together, because then I think they're more knowledgeable, more invested if we have kind of a liaison from the
Yes.
different committees.
I think that's a good idea, and I also think that can be part of our research. When each of us has these subject areas, but there are people like community services. It would be good to talk to the fire chief, the police chief, everybody that does community services, PennDOT, whoever, and find out what's going on, get an idea of where we're going. And that's part of the research that we would do probably prior
Yeah.
to this.
Well, and also keep in mind, we're not the ones who enact the plan. We just guide its development.
Right.
And then the planning commission needs to make a recommendation, so
Right.
they need to be involved
Oh,
in the
yes.
process. And then the commissioners ultimately are the ones that adopt it, so.
Cheryl,
Yes.
I'm sorry, you finished?
Is Dottie finished? Yes.
She stopped, so I assumed she was finished.
Yes,
so-
I believe so.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think what might be a not bad exercise to do is some sort of lessons learned over the last 10 years of this committee. What worked, what didn't, what can we do better implementing anything further 2013 and on, and also some of the initiatives we tried on early on back in the 2004, 5, 6, which was land development plans would informally come to us. We would just to see what conformed, what didn't conform to the comp plan, but that got too cumbersome and it just didn't work.
Right.
And we're not part of the land development
Right.
process,
Right.
zoning, planning, and so forth, and staff are, we're not. So where can we fit in to the township and be of use, I think is important too. And I think we have to step back and take a look
Right.
at our procedures and what we did and did not do.
I think so too, and I think one of the things that we do with the planning commission is talk to them about, would they want our, not standing up at a meeting input, but our input, some kind of look at what they're planning and what they're addressing, how it relates to the comprehensive plan. Just a little synopsis, this is what the comp plan says. Maybe they'll look at it themselves, I don't know, but certainly that has not been the pattern in the past with the zoning hearing board or the planning commission. So in some way, we want to kind of bring this comprehensive planning to the fore for them to deal with. Okay. All righty, so now we have a new member. That's it for the presentation. I'm thinking of October, because I won't be here most of September, so I figured I'd like to be here. I'd like to be here. And
That presentation is this coming October? With what? We won't have the results of...
No, this is just something to give an overview of what the comprehensive
Oh, okay,
plan-
okay. Not of what the
And
new plan
Dottie-
is.
I figured Dottie would lead that up
Okay.
because she teaches this.
Okay, all right, just
So she
a
can teach
plan,
them,
not the
right?
new plan. That was-
And I guess the question is, how is it done? Do we go out to the boards and, have a dog
Bob
and pony show?
and Mr. Zinkowski envisioned a meeting of all the boards and having you,
Oh, okay,
us, make a presentation about what this is.
okay.
So that everybody hears the same thing at the same
Yeah,
time.
and they can ask questions.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we were envisioning it like a workshop, similar to you would hold a meeting like tonight. You would be up there presenting to the boards and committees that would be sitting in the audience. So
Okay.
just kind of a general workshop on what a comprehensive plan is and how it works and
Mm-hmm.
what the individual roles of the various boards and committees are as it relates to the comprehensive plan.
Okay, great.
Okay. I don't have any date for that in October, but I figured
Okay.
give a little wiggle room there. Okay. The next thing is that we are now at, Bob said we are now, Mr. Zinkowski said we are now at capacity with our new members, with Jennifer McGowan, but I think we are not. I think we still need one more person to be added to the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee. But we have different lists. Everybody has different lists. So we're going to check and see if we need one more person and get one appointed, hopefully, so that we have more people to do the job.
How big is the committee
It's
supposed to
supposed to
be?
be 9 people,
Okay,
and I've counted 8.
okay.
So I think that means we're down.
Right.
So that's it. And old business, Biomed, our friends at Biomed. They have come back to the, with other plans for their site, and since the Planning Commission was not embracing their initial 3 60-foot tall buildings or whatever, so they've come back with, they're very flexible, come back with other suggestions. One was an apartment complex, and then someone who's running for commissioner suggested a hotel, and I have suggested a nursing home, because the different time frame would be great for traffic. And don't you make a comment about how I was planning to be there. I know you were. At any rate. So that's Mr. Zinkowski's going to run these ideas by them, see what they think of it, see whether that would be a solution to tamp down a little bit their expectations of making huge buildings there. I think it would be well served by transportation and have different shift times, so it would be a big bonus as far as traffic goes. Not everybody coming, because they
Right.
operate on different
Right.
shifts. So we shall see.
Interesting.
A nursing home or more of a age-restricted community or assisted?
No, I think more of a, well, I do
Assisted
believe
living.
they don't call them nursing homes anymore.
Yeah, it's
and that
kind of
I do
outdated too.
misspeak. I just can't remember the acronym for what they're called now. But it
Like a
is-
continuing care facility?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Not
But not
necessarily.
age-restricted, not an active adult?
No, not an active adult, pretty much people who are there for either assisted living, independent living, or receiving some further care as a nursing home.
So
It would-
continuing care?
a continuing care
Retirement
kind of thing,
community,
right. Or you could probably have what, like an LTAC there, which is the long-term assisted care thing for people who are long-term on some kind of breathing apparatus or something, and they're trying to wean them off, and they have special things for those. but that's an idea. And Villanova, Kevin's going to give us a brief overview of what's happening with Villanova.
Sure. This past Tuesday, the Township Manager held the second public meeting as an information gathering session here at the Township Building. I think it was a very successful meeting. We went over the process at which the Villanova proposal is moving through the system. There's about 30 residents here asking a lot of questions. We took a lot of input. We're going to relay all of that information back to Villanova. They are not on the June 10th Commissioners meeting. The earliest they would be on is the July meeting. From there would not be a vote. The earliest it would come to a vote would be September. But Villanova would, at this point, be at the Commissioners at the earliest at the July meeting to formally present the petition for the Commissioners to review. And depending on what happens there, it would move back through the or the review process with the Township and County Planning Commissions.
Good.
Can I just ask if the Planning Commission's review of the plan, how will that, will that be conveyed as well?
Yes, I think when it's reintroduced at the Commissioners level, obviously the Planning Commission had reviewed, both Planning Commissions have reviewed and weighed in on it. That will be presented to the Commissioners. Whether the Commissioners want to choose to accept those comments in whole or in part, but then provide some specific direction to Villanova as to how to proceed. And my assumption is that there's going to be changes to the current draft. Villanova would then make those revisions, bring it back for review in front of the Commissioners, would then send it back out to the Planning Commissions for formal review and comments again.
Good. Thank you. Okay, that being said, do we have any new business?
Just, Cheryl, for the tasks we're supposed to do with our individual groups, by October, do you want to see a draft outline of where we are, each committee, and what is the time frame for completion to be submitted back to this committee to, I guess we're going to go through each section like we did with the Home Rule Charter, where
Right.
we all had a chance to comment on each individual.
Right.
Is that the plan?
Yes, the plan is, however, in September, because our next televised meeting is September. Not
Okay, it's not, October's
the
gotcha.
educational meeting.
Okay.
Right.
So by October, you want to see a draft of where we are?
No, by September, I want an idea of what needs to be altered in your mind in a new comprehensive plan in your subject matter.
So you really want the final product in September?
No, I want a kind of
Okay.
overview.
Just recommendations for an update,
Right.
I mean,
Yes, exactly.
Not a problem. Okay.
Yeah. Not specific.
because we would not have even hired anybody yet. I mean, this is all prior to.
This is all just preparation for what to bring up to the public, what to bring forward to the consultant.
Right.
This is like background work to be prepared to deal with what's coming, as opposed to actually setting it up.
And the results of that are going to be presented to the Board of Commissioners? Is that right?
Probably. What do you think?
I think that if you summarize the areas that are of most concern to the committee that you need to focus on, and that these would be the recommendations to move forward and how you want to proceed, and the type of consultant that you want to look at. But I think it's important to identify those areas that don't need to be thoroughly overhauled versus those areas that really need to be looked at with a finer comb.
Gotcha.
So that's it. Any other comments, questions? It's a pretty short meeting. Yes. Okay, thanks. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, second? Okay, all in favor? All righty.